So this morning I'll be showing you our weatherboard attachment, and that's a little device that we switch out. It's a little cone here. It's got a double lock system, so you can swing it to 90 degrees there, or set it at your taper setting. Now before you switch it to that taper setting, you swing this little stop up, and it'll automatically pop into your taper increment. So it's pretty simple. Basically, you fly down horizontally, and then you swing it to your taper at the other end, do your cut, swing it back, get that out of the way, move it over a little bit more, horizontal, and then at the other end it'll swing over to your vertical. So in every process you're cutting two weatherboards. So I've done a few practice runs here, and I've figured out what that combination needs to be. So for my 6-inch weatherboards, I've realized that for your first movement, I wind it over to 30 millimeters. So I go horizontally down, and then I swing to the angle, come back at an angle, and then I swing it back to horizontal. And at that point, I move over to 45 millimeters. Then I go through horizontal, swing to vertical, and I cut back. So in that process, you'll get two weatherboards. So again, the device is very simple. It's just a double lock position cone. And obviously when you're using it in full automated standard mode, this just gets rotated so that it locks down automatically every time. This little stopper takes the jiggle out of it, so as you swing at the other end, it'll pop into that angle increment. Now to get it to your absolute vertical, you go past that and you go right down and lock it there. So very simple. We'll actually show the process in automated mode, cutting taper boards. We've worked out a process that you don't have to walk to the other end to calibrate it. Everything can be done at this end. So be nice and simple. So we'll demonstrate that, then we'll remove this rope and show you how a manual scenario would work. So I take the saw down to the other end, stop that little drive, neutralize it, and I wind it over to 45 millimeters. So now I swing it into the horizontal position, and then I take it back to the 30 millimeter mark. Then I go down 35 millimeters, and then swing it the other way into that angle position. That's locked in the angle. So now we're coming back, cutting a taper board. So I've just cut one taper board out of that, and now I'm going to swing it back to the horizontal position and move right back to my 45 millimeter mark. And then grab the board. So there's the other side of the board right there. other paperboard. So now we're going to do a series of weatherboards just to show how quick that is from a one-man type scenario. So we're cutting 6-inch weatherboards at the moment, and everything can be done at that one end over there. So as you can see, the process is pretty easy. Now the first few cuts I played around with the relationship a little bit, so I've discovered that if I go in 45 millimeters and then cut back to 30 millimeters between the two, you get a good relationship. So these two were a little bit of a play around, but the accuracy of that process is pretty close. So now when you do weatherboards, it will leave lines here. So to pick up, you can actually lower to your next level and do another series of weatherboards and pick up those lines as you go through, or just simply use battens between the two. So what we were cutting was 6x1, and the difference between the boards for the 6-inch weatherboard, so we've got 21 millimeters there, and we're down to 12 millimeters there. So obviously if you go for an 8-inch weatherboard, that difference will be that much different. Same for a 9-inch. The difference from here to here will get bigger as you cut deeper boards. So that's how we do the automated system, and I'll just show you how we switch back to your normal standard function, because this won't operate automatically now with that multi-catch cone system there. So what I'll do is I'll just show you how we switch that back to the automated system for standard dimensional boards. And really all that is just rotating this around until the cone is shown on that side. So now I'll just swing back to your standard vertical cut every time. So very easy to switch between weatherboard and standard cutting now. And with this new process, everything can be operated at the operator end without having to walk to the other end to calibrate between different angles. So in order to make this a manual machine, you can simply leave this on like that and just release the rope. That's pretty much all that makes it an automated mill. So I can wind this through like that. Just remove the rope, tie it off somewhere. Now we have a manual machine. So I'll just have to push that through. I'll actually take this away so I swing it at the other end voluntarily. So I'll get that out. standard 7mm kerf here. This is just some old man pine, and we've just basically let the log lay there on the ground, which you can do as well. Again, I like to have the log as close to the carriage as possible, so you're not walking unnecessarily. As far as milling on the ground, when you swing the blade right at the bottom, it sticks down maybe about 2.5–3 inches lower than the actual horizontal surface. So what I do is I do a series of vertical cuts, and then I come back and I raise up, swing the blade, and lower back to where you were, and then cut them all free. So you can basically cut right down to the the bark on the ground, so long as you raise the machine up to swing the blade and then lower it back down. Something very easy to do on our automated machines because everything's operated at one end. You don't need to walk to another winch at the other end or so on. Everything's done at that one end. So pretty easy to mill logs on the ground. You obviously don't want to swing over the dirt, so you raise up and lower to accommodate. So basically all our manual and automated mills utilize this, including our hobby mill will have this little device here. So with the hobby mill, it's just a gravity lock. The actual motor, electric motor, locks it into the vertical position. So with the hobby mill, all you do is you switch back and forth just with that little stop there. So that'll be your taper adjustment, and then that'll be your standard vertical cut. But with our manual and automated mills, you have this secondary lock system. So that's your taper and that's your vertical cut. Now if you just had the cone, it's going to sit there and vibrate in the cut. So also it won't automatically catch without the stop. So the stop does two things. It takes away the chatter, and also means it locks in that taper cut as well at the other end. So everything can be done at one end, which is pretty fantastic, I think. Having to, being able to just stand at this end and do all your taper boards. So I'm just going to lay out the taper boards and just show you what we've cut. So there's our tapered boards. Quite a few of them. Quickly adds up, and obviously you get a bigger area coverage with your tapered system. And here's all your boards here. So definitely a neat little add-on. Now that it's refined that much more. We've had a few prototypes over the years, but we've got it now. One of the setbacks was having to change the angle at the other end, and how do you do that with an automatic system? And we've just figured it out. So everything can be done at one end now. It's just all about the process. And again, there's your attachment right there. Just locks into that angle. So you just flick that little bottom lever up and down, depending on where you want it to automatically swing to. Thanks for tuning in.